So good morning, everybody. Welcome to our fourth DLE program of 2021. My name is Danielle Sanders. I work at General Dynamics Mission Systems, and I'm a user experience generalist. I'd like everyone to please put your name, your title, your company, and where you're joining us from in the chat. I always love to see where everybody is dialing in. I know we've got a couple people here from Brazil this morning. Lucas is joining us from Brazil. Julia, I don't know where you are this morning. I know you often travel. Wonderful. So we've got quite a few people from all over the United States this morning. Love to see that. Awesome. All right. So before we get started, I want to just go over a couple ground rules. Please, when you're not speaking, we're going to have a guest speaker this morning. Please mute yourself. Utilize the chat feature. We often have sidebar conversations or additions to the conversations in there, so please feel free to add your comments. Also, whenever you do speak today, please remember to state your name and the company you work for. That certainly helps us build these connections and continue networking. All right, so to start us off, I want to share, you may have all seen our poll this week, and let me pull this up and present it. Okay, so our 10-second poll this week. Are you satisfied with your progress so far in achieving your 2021 goals? 38.46% of us said no, while 61.54% of us said yes. Very interesting data. We're curious, for those of you who may have marked no, put in the chat, what is one thing that's making you stuck? Why are you feeling that maybe you haven't been as progressive as you plan to be? Is there a certain reason, or do you feel maybe you're going to catch up at the latter half of the year? So go ahead and put something in the chat. I'll give everyone a second. I think everybody on this call seems like they are on track for their 2021 goals, so that's awesome. All right, so today we want to talk about goal setting, and I will introduce John in a moment who will take us through a little bit more, but I just want to say, like, I have been also looking at my 2021 goals, and my way of doing it is I write them down in this notebook, right? I put all my goals right up front every day. I open this notebook. You know, some of my goals this year, stick to a morning routine. I think we all can relate. When the pandemic started, it threw us all off and realized, hey, we're working from home, maybe we can be more lax. So my biggest challenge this year has been getting back into a morning routine, getting up early, getting myself together, sitting down and having coffee. That's something I've never done, even in my working world. I'd get up, throw coffee in my mug, and go on my day. So that's something I've been working hard at. So I'm sure all of us have some similar personal or professional goals that we're trying to hit. So at this point, I'd like to introduce John Katz. John Katz is an entrepreneur and creator of BLENDi, as well as a financial advisor who works for Raymond James. His attention to personal development is what brings him here today, and to share with you, and he wants to share with you all his method of goal setting. So John, would you like to take the floor?
Thank you, Danielle. Appreciate that. So I did this in conjunction with Lucas. So I would like to have Lucas chime in here as well. It was funny as we were preparing this, we had our own different approach to setting our goals and how we actually did so. And our approaches were interesting. The fact that Lucas was more focused on, it seemed like, daily habits to get to the goal. And mine was more pick a goal and then create, maybe 5 tasks to get to that goal. And Lucas much more seemingly wanted to focus on the actual daily interactions to get there, which I thought was really interesting, and 2 different approaches. So I thought we would combine them into one solid Excel document that you can actually use yourself. And I think this is really important because while having a goal and creating tasks to get there is good, and it should be unique, like these tasks to get to your goal should be extraordinary, not mundane tasks you do every day. So if you're reading, a book every day, or you're reading 10 pages a day, right? And that's something you just do every day, or you work out every day, that could be a habit. Whereas if you, say like you want to lose 15 pounds, what can you do in addition to your daily routine of working out? Maybe it's saying, I'm going to cut out sugar or something like that, something out of the ordinary. So I hope I'm making sense in that. So that it's two totally different things. And I'm going to share my screen real quick to then show you what we've created. So one of the examples we had here was, goal one is save money or to buy a house, right? So underneath we have the goal one is to buy a house, the tasks to do so, the complexity, and the impact. This is my version that I had created, and then this is Lucas's. And Lucas, I'm going to have you speak in here in just a second to how you created yours and how you use it, as I can only speak as for mine. So let's say you want to buy a new house. Some of you in this crazy market, in this seller's market, that it seems like all cash offers are coming in. Many of you may know or may not know. So you probably have a day job, right? But I highly recommend that you have some type of personal goal and even professional. So in your professional life, you have daily habitual things you have to do for your work. You all understand that. But maybe let's say you want to get a promotion, right? So it could be you are having to do extraordinary things to get that promotion. Maybe it's sending a one-on-one with your boss, or it's sending a one-on-one with the district manager. Or maybe it's finding someone else to get guidance from, a mentor or something like that, right? So you have to come up with a set of tasks to get you there. It's going to be a gradual process. And then I also would recommend having a personal goal. And the personal goal might be buying a new house. So a task could be, and we want to make sure that these are not too broad. And the task could be, let's say, contact 5 real estate, and please expel any typing errors, or ignore any typing errors. Contact 5 real estate agents in 1 week. So that's a good example of creating something very realistic, accurate, measurable. It could be as simple as maybe going onto Zillow and seeing a couple different houses and then saying, hey, is this available? And the next thing you know, you get the conversation with started with a real estate agent. The complexity is pretty low for that. It's not that hard, but the impact is pretty much high because that's how you start the conversation. I think even this could be a secondary task. Let me backtrack a little bit. I think it's probably, within the next week or two, sit down and think what you want in a house. So it could be, it's like price, location, what are you searching for? And then that will help you better understand what you can say to the real estate agent. I would also say the impact is pretty high on that. Something that might be complex and also have high impact is, let's say, see 5 houses in 2 weeks. That could be high because you have a job, but the impact is also high because that could be your new house. Hit caps lock. So those are just 3 examples of something to do. They're all specific, measurable. And I think that's super important. One of the mistakes that I made early on, and I have kind of an early habit tracker with this book that I do every day. I have daily tasks, which I can elaborate further on, but we're always working towards something. And so having my biggest mistake was I used to just say, contact real estate agents, or figure out what I want. I think it's important when you say things to yourself, you could have contact real estate agents, but then underneath you should put like little bullet points. How many, what price range, what area, right? So when you look at that task, you're not like, oh my God, I just got back from work and it's like 6:30 and I'm exhausted. And you see this massive task on your book and you're like, Jesus, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? And so I think when you break it down and maybe something, maybe your habit tracker, maybe your thing will get you going, right? I know a lot of times I can actually, even if I break it down, I'm like, I don't have any momentum to get it going. And I find that maybe even cleaning my room or doing something that I try to do every day kind of spurs me on to get to that next step and makes me productive. And while I do encourage you take some time for yourself, you're not just constantly going all the time because you're going to burn out. Of course, we all probably hopefully understand this. I do think it's important to break it down to small tasks. That way it's easier to get it done. And I think the complexity and impact is a good way to finish off my point here, to see what like, let's get the easiest things complexity wise done out of the way that have the highest impact. Then the next thing would be medium and then high impact, and then high with high impact, I would say. So focus on the high impact things with the lowest complexity first to get those done. And you should be well on your way to that goal. And buy a new house, you could say in 6 months to make it more specific. So Lucas, do you want to chime in and talk about your habit tracker and
yeah, sure.
About that? Yeah.
If you want, you can leave your screen shared.
Yeah.
It's okay. So the habit tracker is actually something very complementary to what John has shared. It's something that it's supposed to be something we do and we track daily. And as we put it here, there are many areas we can cover. I myself use this for everything, for work, for my diet, for exercising, for everything. And the interesting thing here is that this should be something, before you start thinking about it, this should be something you will have in mind that you will check every day, because this is really a daily thing. So for example, I have a day that I want, like John said, I want to develop the daily habit of cutting off sugar. So this is something that should be easy for me. I put it on my cell phone home screen. It's one of the first things I see when I unlock my phone. And I always check it in the mornings. So you can complete with tasks that you can do every day. And it should be something very objective, something very simple to understand. And I put it daily. I like to make it a daily thing, but you can also turn it into a weekly or monthly thing. I have weekly and monthly tabs for work, for personal matters. No, but for work, yes. Because those are every time we do something daily, it really becomes a habit, and it's something it's interesting to point out that it's something that we should do with intention. Like, why are you doing it? John put it here that the goal to buy a house within 6 months. So one of your tasks complementing your first goal there can be to look for houses online. I don't know how it's done in the US, but in Brazil we do that online a lot. So look for houses online every day, at least for 5 minutes. It's a very simple task that can help you reach your goals daily and can help you create a habit to achieve it quicker. And I think that's it. And one thing which is very interesting that John did was to bring those points. Can you explain that, John? I think you were better. It's a gamification of the process, which is really interesting. And
sure.
I think, right? I think it makes it more interesting.
Yeah. So before Lucas had X's, and you can also do X's. My brain was so focused on, I guess, gamifying it. But if you did X's, you could do like a count function. So you could just count the number of numeric values and still get the same. You're still going to get, okay, well, 9 because I counted that. But so like, let's say, your task number 1 is search for homes 5 minutes a day. And you did that day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and then 6, 7, I didn't do it, day 8, right? You get the point. So then you add up all of those throughout the 10 days, you see, oh, wow, I only did it 8 times out of the 10. And it's a good way to track how many times you're actually doing it per day, right? and to making sure how if you're actually staying on track with your habits. I would definitely guess and probably say to you that if you find that it's probably under 5 or under, maybe 6 or 7 for all of them, you're probably not getting towards your goal, and you're probably living, you're either probably not feeling well or something, right? So I think it's probably good to see if you actually legit track this, that you could probably correlate between, oh, wow, I was really feeling bad in the month of May, and I remember that, and look at my daily habits. I actually I wasn't doing them. So I think it's a good way to track. And then I'm going to open it up with my gamification real quick. And I have a personal development tracker that I promised I would share here. So this is going to look pretty maybe complex for you all, but I'll kind of break it down. So like Danielle said, I'm a pretty big believer in self-development and improvement. And this is my way of making sure that I am improving and developing every day. This is since I'm in finance, I love stocks, I love charts, and I love seeing going up. And we've been seeing kind of a sideways the last couple of months, but I guess that's what happens. So what I wanted to do is every day I got my tasks done, that's a win. So I have about 5 to 10 different tasks, sometimes more a day. And if I get them all done, that's a win. Sometimes I add 2 points if I get BLENDi and financial advising tasks done every day. If I get just one of them, it's just a point. If I just have a bad day, it's a loss, and it's -1. And so it's not really about wins and losses. It's more about completes or incompletes. But I just I'm a sports guy, so I like saying wins and losses. It makes it seem, the loss seems more emotionally devastating, I guess. And so then I also wanted to see how are my emotions when I win? Do I feel better if I win that day and I get all my tasks done? And the answer is actually yes. I in fact feel 1.3 feelings better, however you want to say that. But it's a direct correlation. If I don't get my tasks done, I don't feel good. And I know that, I can see that. And I've tracked it now for 232 days. That's a lot of days. And you can see the chart. I had a great 2021. That's at the beginning. A lot of great things happened. Sometimes I like throwing in major life events that are, very spectacular for me, and getting them some extra points to get that ball rolling. But at the beginning, if we tapered back this chart, I had actually kind of a lot of losses as I adjusted to this new lifestyle. But it really keeps you accountable. And a lot of the times we just kind of go through life, and, I feel as if though I was going through life not really understanding if I was actually making progress. Sometimes you get lost in the minutia on day to day. And I was like, well, how can I track to make sure I'm actually progressing? And this was a great way, I thought, to do it, and kind of, I guess, gamify, as Lucas said, my life. And I say, look at it like a stock chart. Like my personal stock is improving. So that's just a little bit about that. I highly recommend you use this. If you're really interested, you can definitely hit me up, and I can send you a template of this if you want to be like me, I guess. It's a little whatever to do. It's kind of a lot, but yeah. So we're about to go into breakout rooms and talk a little bit more about something? Yeah.
Just a little thing, which I think is very interesting about this tool, is that it's a way not to hit perfection every day. Maybe we are not going to do everything every day, but it's a way to keep consistency, and this makes us really unstuck our goals, right?
Yes, it does, for sure, 100%. And thank you, Lucas, for contributing there. I appreciate that. I feel like this is way more complete now with your habit tracker in there, for sure.